Caution out again at lap 348, seventh caution of the day. Dave Blaney spun off the front bumper of Steve Park coming off turn number 4. Blaney trying to cut under Michael Waltrip, but there wasn't any room. He wasn't hardly stopped before the caution flag waved, as you see it from Ricky Rudd's point of view. Kenny Wallace got back on the lead lap as he came around.
Of all of our leaders, we only had 2 cars stay out. This is the race off pit road. Sterling Marlin in the 40 car won the race. The reason he changed 2 tires, so Dale Earnhardt Jr., everybody else changed 4 tires. Pretty much, he wins the race off pit road as far as people that change 4 tires.
And watching that 20 car, you know, earlier do that, Larry, I didn't see that was all that bad, especially once the pressures came up in those right side tires.
Kevin Harvick in the 29, he's actually our leader because him and Elliott Sadler in the 38, they had 30 laps on their tires. They decided to stay out and keep that track position, but he has 3 cars in front of him. Harvick does. Matt Kenseth, Jimmy Spencer, Dale Jarrett trying to get back on the lead lap as well.
Let's show you Kenny Schrader's stop a few minutes ago. Schrader was 5th coming into the pits. A little bit of fuel spill, and down he goes.
Man, that hurt. But what I love about those guys, they never quit.
Yeah, that's Jonathan Sherman. He went right on his face here in the pits, but you're right, Darrell. These guys just don't give up. They know they've got a great car. Schrader was 5th before that caution flag. Matty?
Well, Dick, to update Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 3rd straight stop, they have been in the 14s, no adjustments. Meanwhile, track bar adjustment on Jeff Gordon's car, way too tight in traffic. And also Tony Stewart, they made an air pressure adjustment in the right rear. He was just way too tight in the center, free up off the corner. Chris.
All right, this is a Visa race break as Kevin Harvick, your leader, along with Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers from the Hollywood Hotel. Elliott Sadler up behind him. Sterling Marlin running 3rd. We got about, 352 laps through. Some observations at this point as Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Jr. have dominated.
Well, right now, one of the things I'm noticing is we see Kevin Harvick and Elliott Sadler staying out. It seems like the guys who got the fresher tires have got a definite advantage. So I'm going to be real interested to see whether or not Kevin Harvick, as well as Elliott, can stay in front of the strength of the Earnhardt Jr. as well as Jeff Gordon or Tony Stewart, because these guys have been very, very dominating all day long. And track position is important, but it seems like tires are also important today.
All right, let's go back upstairs. We're getting ready to go green.
Well, this caution flag, a break for Matt Kenseth and Jimmy Spencer. They are now on the tail end of the lead lap in front of Kevin Harvick as we restart.
How many times have we seen this with Matt Kenseth this year? This has happened several times. Mike, you mentioned earlier, he's finished on the lead lap of every race, but I bet you 2 or 3 races, he's been a lap down at one point, made that lap up.
And his car looked pretty good there just before that caution came out.
With Kevin Harvick behind him in the 29 car, the leader with 30-lap tires, this would be a good opportunity to get that lap back.
And Larry, what that tells you is that they build a lot of adjustability into that car with spring rubbers, and oh my goodness, Harvick snailed Dale Jarrett.
Well, Jarrett is trying to get back on the lead lap, as is the 12 of Ryan Newman.
I mean, it wasn't that long ago. We only had about 15 cars on the lead lap. Now we're up there on the verge. If we get a caution, we may have 23 cars on the lead lap.
Well, we're in that part of the race now where we're going to have a few cautions. Got everybody grouped up. Some guys are hot and tired. Brakes are starting to give out a little bit.
And some of the cars are, too.
Yeah. Tired of giving people breaks.
Right. Harvick's going after DJ.
Right now, Mike, he's working the bottom of the racetrack where we've seen Tony Stewart work so good. Most of the other guys are working that top groove, that second groove, rather.
Mike, have you ever noticed how when you get hot, you kind of get tired, how much harder your job gets? Well, that's the way it is in a race car. Just multiply that.
We're seeing a little bit of smoke come off the 88 car. I think it may be some tire smoke. Remember, he had a fender that was caved in on that tire a while ago. And right now, possibly air pressure not completely built up. It's still rubbing just a little bit. But right now, all he's worried about is getting back on the lead lap. Then we'll fix that tire rub.
Hey, who looks really good right now is Matt Kenseth. He's out in front of this pack. Remember, he's on the tail end of the lead lap, along with the 7 of Jimmy Spencer and the 88 of Jarrett. That silver and black 29 of Harvick is the leader. Sadler is second, and Sterling Marlin is third, Steve.
Mike Sterling Marlin took just 2 tires. Crew Chief Lee McCall said that should put us with the cars we should be with. He's running third right now. Jimmy Johnson took 4 tires. Remember, on his last stop, Johnson took 2. They took 4 and made a chassis adjustment. They took 1 pound out of the left rear tire. Dick Berger.
Well, Rusty Wallace's first 3 pit stops were absolutely perfect. He passed cars on every one. The last 2 pit stops, they've had problems with the jacks on both of them. 2 stops ago, the jack didn't go up high enough. This one, they couldn't get the jack quite into the car, and that has cost Rusty positions.
You know, Darrell, the only thing I would question, we're 140 laps to go, of not having 4 tires on that car now, it almost forces you, and we'll probably have more cautions, I think. Some of those guys that changed 4 tires there, they may try to run as we got a battle for the lead here with Elliott Sadler on the outside of Kevin Harvick.
Yeah,
Side by side.
Harvick got into the curve coming out of turn 2. That allowed Sadler to get a run.
It allowed Ryan Newman to get back on the tail end of the lead lap in the 12 car.
It's got to be exciting for Elliott Sadler, because you heard him on our trackside show that night. I said, I hate this spot. Never liked this
But he
place.
got trapped behind his teammate over in turn 2, allowed Harvick to get back beside him.
Now he likes the track and doesn't like his teammate.
Well, Ryan Newman washed up into Jarrett, and Sadler had nowhere to run, nowhere to hide.
But look at Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that 8 car, the Budweiser car, 4 fresh tires. He says, I'm going to come up here. I want this lead.
Yeah, don't look too far behind you either, because here comes that old orange Home Depot car, number 20, slipping into the picture.
And they're going by Sterling Marlin again, who has only 2 tires. But all I'm saying, Darrell, I believe I wanted 4 tires that last caution. That way I may only be able to change 2 later on in this race.
Always like to get them under caution, Larry. You can get them in. That's the best time.
This late in the race especially.
For second place, Junior on the outside of Harvick.
And again, tires seem to, the 10 car just about went around. Tires seem to be, the 10 car's got a left rear down, guys.
And he can't hardly get to pit road because so many cars is coming at him.
Now he'll make it.
There he goes.
Meanwhile, for the lead, there's Benson going to limp in and lose a couple of laps changing that tire.
I think he got that knocked down. Somebody got into him and knocked it down.
Boy, why Elliott Sadler and Dale Earnhardt Jr., they're battling for the lead. That's really a break for Matt Kenseth. He just continues to pull away out there trying to get back on the lead lap, as well as Ryan Newman, Jimmy Spencer, and Dale Jarrett.
Ryan Newman's the one that lucked out, because they had him passed. And then they got the banging on each other over there, and he got back around them.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., he turns that car to the bottom. Just can't quite get the fight off turn 2 to battle Elliott Sadler for the lead.
And the nice thing is you watch Stewart inside of Kevin Harvick. The nice thing about where Kenseth is, he's running his own race, not using up his equipment. He's all by himself.
Clean air. We talk about clean air. It means as much here as it does anywhere when you got that nice clean air going into those brake ducts, into that radiator.
I'm going to tell you what, the guy that has led 176 laps, he's kind of been out of the picture through all this off-sync pit stops. Jeff Gordon, that 24 car, he pulls inside of Sterling Marlin. That's a battle for fifth.
But Darrell, I agree. The happiest fella here has got to be Elliott Sadler. His best Martinsville finish in 8 starts is 17th. And here he is running second and chasing the lead.
Yeah, well, we said, earlier in the show, he never really qualified for the races here. He's been in a provisional situation every time. So he's having a great day. He and little Raymond Fox, he's really pumped up about his race team and what Raymond's doing. That's good news for everybody on that team. Bad news for the guy we're looking at right there with smoke coming off his fenders. I think that's put a lot of pressure on that team, the 88 team.
I'll tell you what's bad news for a lot of guys is what I'm seeing with that 24 car. Jeff Gordon pulls the inside of Kevin Harvick. That's now a battle for 4th. Remember, Harvick has 30 laps on his tires. Jeff Gordon pitted that last caution for fresh tires.
Gordon has led 176 laps, the most of any driver today. Started from the pole, and this morning was the consensus favorite. But Dale Earnhardt Jr. leads this race with 130 laps to go over Elliott Sadler and Tony Stewart. The Virginia 500 on Fox is brought to you by Visa. Visa.com/NASCAR for an incredible NASCAR offer. Our leader just put a lap on the point leader. Well, or did he? He did, and then he didn't.
I say he will right here, because he's got that low line. He gets down and gets that good bite off the turn 4. Watch that thing come out of there. Well, if you can get your car down there and make it cut, you get good bite, you get good traction right there.
I tell you what, a guy that's leading this race not too many laps ago, I think he is paying the price for those 30-lap tires now. Kevin Harvick in the 29 car
He just got passed by Jeff Burton and Bobby Labonte, so he has slid back to the 9th position. I just think, and there you see he's going to lose another position to Greg Biffle in the 16. Actually, Greg is still a lap down, but he's sliding backwards regardless.
So Matt Kenseth and Jimmy Spencer have now gone a lap down once again to Dale Earnhardt Jr. And a little bit of frustration showed in the voice of Elliott Sadler as he had this discussion with his pit crew.
You want to pit or not? Stay out. Yeah, pit. Too late, Hoss. You got to let me know something. Care about how many cars are late lap. We need to know when to pit. Simple.
And that happened when the last caution came out. And I'm going to tell you what, Darrell, you have to make a fast decision here as a crew chief. Most places, the caution comes out, you have a full lap to make your mind up because of where the entrance on pit road is, turn 3, not much time to make that decision.
No, but the driver really, he needs to know because he has to kind of prepare himself to come to pit road. It's another one of those incidences where you want to know that the crew and you are on the same page, that when they want you to pit, that you know you're going to pit and they know you're going to pit.
Let me tell you who ain't on the same page, wasn't on the same page. Tony Stewart Mungo. I think he just gestured to him, look, don't hit me again. I'm a lead lap car and you're not.
Darrell and Larry, one of the things I'm kind of curious about, kind of watching the guys' lap times, everybody's picked the pace up here with about 116 laps to go. And the one big question here at Martinsville, as always, is who's got the best brakes here at the end. We've been running pretty aggressively all day long, and who has used these brakes up and abused them the most is kind of like what I'm interested in right now.
Well, Jeff, some conversations down in the 20 pit during that caution. Tony Stewart said his car, it takes a little bit to get going. The car is much better at the middle, the end of a run. Jason Shapiro, the brake specialist, said, Smoke, how are the brakes? Tony said, I think these brakes are the best we have ever had here. I have so much pedal left, you have no idea. Of course, if you're a brake specialist, especially in Martinsville, which is so brutal on brakes, that makes you smile big time. But Shapiro did say, Tony, let's not talk about it again. I don't want to jinx us.
Yeah, one thing I noticed yesterday, the brake package that we had on, the pads are a lot thicker than they used to be. Wear was the big issue here. You'd wear them out, blow the pucks out of the calipers. That's kind of, the big, thick pads have fixed that. The rotors are much beefier than they used to be. They got better air fins in them to keep them cool. The ducts, all the duct technology that we're using to cool the brakes, that is a lot better. The fans and everything that blow the air into the brakes. So everything is better than it used to be.
And Darrell, for a rotor to go through this, remember, 1,000 times, 500 laps, once at each end, I mean, things have to be good, especially the cooling, because as we mentioned earlier, it looks like molten lava there, and that's happening twice a lap.
And look, it doesn't really ever, it hardly ever stops glowing, even on the straightaway.
It's always struck me funny that at the smallest track, we run the biggest brakes. And then, of course, at the biggest tracks, we run the little small brakes. Dick Perfett.
Well, one of the new technology things that's happened here this weekend, Mike, is that some of the brake pads have actually got a hole in them, an air circulating hole, and that helps them cool off. And most of the teams now have directed fresh air, vented it right to the tire itself. Remember when tires used to fail here when the beads would get too hot? Not anymore, because now they've got a vent with a blower on it that goes right at the bead.
Yeah, and the good thing about that, also, it's cooling that tire down some, Dick, and keeps the air pressure from building as much as well.
See much of a difference, Larry, in the brake cycling between Dale Jarrett on the left and Kenny Wallace's right front on the right?
And again, this could be a product, left foot braker, right foot braker, Darrell.
Yeah, it's what I was talking about in the early part of the show there. A lot of guys like to use their left foot. You're going to use more brake if you do. And Junior always made me tie my foot down and just use my right foot for gassing and braking.
Well, and one other thing to keep in mind, too, for the guys that are up in front, they have clean traffic. They're not trying to bump and gouge their way back in lap traffic. That allows them to not abuse their brakes so much.
And I tell you, another thing, if a car's pushing and not turning, Darrell, the driver would drive me crazy when he starts doing it, but his job is to do whatever he has to do to make that car go fast. You'll use that brake pedal to make that car turn a little bit.
Not a good idea here.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to put Ryan Newman a lap down. Jr. now has a 2-second lead on Jeff Gordon with 107 laps to go.